This question is asking us to put together some feasible regions on the calculator, or not necessarily on the calculator, but we will. Now, we've got a practical situation, and so we need to start thinking about how we turn a practical situation into this graph. So first of all, there are a few rules here. The hardware shop has room for no more than 100 cans of paint, and there are two brands, X and Y. So my first rule is going to say that the number of X's plus the number of Y's has to be less than or equal to 100, because there's no more room than 100 brands. So that's my first one. I'm going to call that my blue rule. Next one, let's do in green. It's known that at least 30 cans of X. So this means I must have at least 30 cans of X. So therefore X has to have at least 30. So there's my green rule. No more than 50 cans of brand Y. So let's go to orange. No more than 50 cans means Y has to be less than or equal to 50. So there's my orange rule. So now I have three rules. What I need to do is I need to shade a suitable region of the plane and indicate the possible number that we can store. So I'll get out my axes and I'll get out my calculator and I'll make this work. So here's my set of axes, but there's something that's worth thinking about, and that is that I've got all this negative space here. Now I can't have a negative number of cans of paint of X or Y. So realistically, I should also be writing that X is greater than or equal to 0 and Y is greater than or equal to 0. So I really have these rules as well, because this space here doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to replace that with just a set of positive axes. So now just let's have a look at our regions. First thing I'm going to do, of course, is to label my axes. So this is the amount of Y and this is the amount of X. Then I'm going to put my axes into my calculator and I'm going to start having a look at these equations. So now let's tick off our rules as we go. We'll start at the bottom. First of all, I already have this rule and this rule done, and I did that when I changed the axes. Next, Y is less than or equal to 50. So what I can do is I can get out my ruler and I can say, okay, if I have a rule that goes like that, you know what? I'm going to do it in orange because that's the color of the rule. So I have a line that goes like this that's less than or equal to 50. Okay, I have X is greater than 30. So I'm going to have, oops, I didn't mean to change the color of that. So then I'm going to have X is greater than or equal to 30. So I'm going to have a line that looks something like this as well. And then I have this X plus Y is less than or equal to 100. Now remember, I don't always know exactly what that looks like. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to check out on my calculator how that looks. So let's go to our main function. Remember what we do here is we're going to solve this for Y. So I'm going to write just in a think box here, X plus Y is less than or equal to 100. So I'm going to write in my calculator, X plus Y is less than or equal to, that's only findable on the keyboard in Maths 3, less than or equal to 100. Let's solve this one for Y, and we get solve for Y, and we're going to get Y is less than or equal to negative X plus 100, so I'll just write that down. Y is less than or equal to negative X plus 100. That's what I need to put into my graphing section of my calculator. If I want to, I may even be able to highlight that, which would be pretty cool. Let's see if this works. And I'll go now to the menu, to graphing and table, and I'll put that in. And look, there it is. So I'm going to graph that. Now, my screen isn't big enough. I've got to go all the way to 100. So my next issue is to look at the window. So if you have a look here, I've got a window, and I need to make my values, well, my minimum values don't need to be any bigger than 0, but my maximum values need to go past 100. So you see here I go to 110. Same with the Y's. The minimum value is going to be all right if it's just below 0, but the maximum values need to be about 110. This number's telling me that. So I'll go OK, and there we have my line. So I know my blue line looks something like this. And now I need to go to Analysis and G-solve to find out what my y-intercept is, and it's at 100. So I know I have here y-intercept at 100. And if I go to Analysis, G-solve and root, then I get told my x-intercept is also 100. So considering this point here is 50 and this is 30, my line's going to go somewhere like from there to maybe here or something like that. So let's get out my ruler and draw my line, which will look something like this. So now let's have a look at my whole region of inequalities, because remember I have my calculator and I can do this stuff. So my first line is my blue one. I've got that here. Next I've got x greater than or equal to 30. Remember, I can just write 30 in there because I'll change my sign in a second. And the third one is y is less than or equal to 50, and I'll put the 50 in there. Now my first sign, remember back here, needs to be less than or equals to, so I'll click the equals and I'll make that less than or equal to. My second sign is x greater than 30, so what I need to do is here it only gives me y type, but if I go up and I say for my red one, I'm trying to get the cursor to go there, if I hit the y equals and I turn that into x equals, then that should hopefully give me x equals, so now you see x2, I'll write equals 30. Now, when I click my equals sign, I can get all the x options. So this is greater than or equals to, done. Click that as OK. And the third one, y is less than or equal to 50. Click the equals, less than or equal to 50, OK. And now I have all of them shaded. Now what I can do is hit the go button, and you'll see it graphs everything, and it leaves me with this space that's the viable region. So if this space is the viable region, then what I can do is I can get out my colouring in and I can highlight that region, and there it is. So now I know where on the graph this appears. I also know that this is at 30. Actually, let's change the colour of the pen there. I know that this is at 30. This point here is at 100. My intersection is going to be pretty important. I know that my y value is at 50, so therefore I know here x equals 50 and y equals 50 because they have to add up to be 100 on this line. So when I say the possible number of brand x and brand y that can be stored, I can have more than 30 brand x, less than up to 50 brand y, and then whenever I've got more than 50 brand x, I need to only have the number of brand y's that make that add up to 100. So that's how I would indicate that.